Hi, I'm Marley Bird, proud spokesperson for Red Heart Yarns. We're going to learn how to make the Toddler Joyful Jumper, which uses the brand new yarn by Red Heart called Baby Hugs. When you knit and crochet something with Baby Hugs, you're making sure that this little gift for your precious little one has nothing but love. With this yarn, I'm going to walk you through step by step how to make this jumper, from the front and back collar to the skirt to the trim. Let's go ahead and jump in and get started. The Toddler Joyful Jumper begins with the top parts first. So we're actually going to complete the entire front portion of the top of the jumper, and then we will complete the back portion. It's important you complete both of these first before we can move on to the skirt. So let's jump in and show you how to do that. To begin, we're going to grab your yarn and put a slip knot on your hook. If you put the tail of your yarn around your hand, take the working yarn, wrap it around your forefinger, your middle finger. When you come back up, cross over. Turn your hand. When you go underneath the front loop, you can grab the back loop and pull it off, and you have a slip knot. We're going to place that slip knot directly onto our hook, and we're going to begin by chaining 49 for the front and 69 for the back. We're going to begin with just the front this time. Once you've chained the appropriate amount of stitches for the front or the back, you'll jump into row 1, which is a right side row. We're going to start off with a single crochet into the second chain from hook. You never count the loop on your hook. You're going to insert your hook directly into the chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. That's going to be our first stitch. You have to do 13 more for the front and 23 more for the back. Let me show you how to do the single crochet one more time. We're going to go into the next stitch over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, draw through 2. Go to the next stitch over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. Continue on until you have the number of stitches you need. The next part of the instructions say that we need to put 3 stitches into the next chain. This is going to create an increase and begin the corner for our front or the back. To do 3 stitches into the next chain, it's just like that. We're going to do 3 single crochets all into that same chain. 1, 2, and our last one. What I want you to do now is I want you to grab a removable marker, and we're going to place the marker into the second single crochet you completed. So it's the middle single crochet of this chain, or these 3 single crochet increases. What that's going to do is allow you to better know where to make your increases on future rows. So this is a very important step. Once you've done this, you're going to go ahead and single crochet over the next 18 chains for both the front and the back. Once you've done the 18 single crochets, it's time to do another increase, and this will be the other corner point of the front or the back. So we're going to put 3 single crochets all into this next chain. 1, 2, 3. You want to make sure you don't forget your stitch marker. So I'm going to grab my removable stitch marker, place it into the second single crochet I completed because it's the center, and then I can carry on. Go ahead and finish all of the chains down to the end of this row. So you're going to single crochet into each chain all the way to the end, and it'll be time for row 2. Once you're to the end of the row, I want you to make sure that we mark the front of our work at this point, signifying that it's the right side. So I'm going to grab one more marker, and I'm just coming down here to the front of the work, and I'm putting the marker just directly through like the post of one of the single crochets. What this is going to do is it's going to help you later on when we have to put the pieces together to start the skirt. You won't have to decide which is the front, which is the back, in the sense of right side or wrong side. You'll know exactly where you are. Once we've done that, it's time to move on to the next row. So I'm going to go ahead, pick up my work, and I'm going to go ahead and do a chain 1 and turn. Doesn't matter if you turn and then chain 1, whatever works for you. Once I do that, I'm going to begin doing single crochets all the way down to that marked corner stitch. When I get to that marked corner stitch, I'm going to put 3 single crochets into the marked corner stitch. So I'm increasing yet again. I'm going to make sure I move my stitch marker to the center of those 3 single crochets and then carry on to the next stitch marker. I'll put 3 increases at that point, and so on and so forth. The rest of the pattern is just a repeat of row 2. You're going to repeat row 2 for 7 or 8 more times, depending on the size you're making. At that point, the front and the back will both measure the same width-wise, but you'll notice that the back has longer straps. Let me show you what I mean. As I pull in work I've already completed, you can see that the pink here, this is my front, and the blue is my back. The blue obviously has longer straps than the pink because it's going to fold over in the finished sample, and we'll put some purl buttons right there so that it snaps down. Now this is where it's important to show you that when I marked the right side, because when I put the front and the back together, I want to make sure the right side is facing out. So knowing that I have those markers on the outside, I don't really have to question myself of what's the right side or the wrong side. Once you've completed the front and the back, you can move on to the skirt. So go ahead and finish that, and I'm going to show you how to do the skirt pattern. When you crochet the skirt of this toddler jumper, it actually joins the front and the back pieces together. So there is no finishing. It's really great. We're going to go ahead and look down here and get started. One thing that's really great about this pattern is there's very minimal finishing because the skirt actually joins the front and the back. The first thing I'm going to point out is that I have the back and the front with wrong sides together. Now, how do I know they're wrong sides? Because we marked them, remember? So I have a marker right here, and I want to make sure that my marker on the front is actually out on the outside as well. I want the back one facing up towards me, and remember, it's the one that has the longer straps, and we're going to begin here. I have not removed my corner markers because they're very important in this step. You're going to join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet to the left of your marker right there. For a slip stitch, you put your hook into the actual stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and draw through that loop. That creates a really secure join, okay? Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a single crochet into that same stitch. So I'm going to go ahead, put my hook into that same stitch that I did my join, and complete my single crochet. I'm going to do a single crochet into each single crochet to one stitch before my next marker. I'm to one stitch before my marker, and I'm going to go ahead and place my single crochet into this stitch, but I'm not going to work into the stitch that's marked. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to chain 10, 14, or 18, depending on the size you're making, and we're going to start working onto the front, okay? Once you get those stitches chained, go ahead and rotate your work around so now the front is facing you, and we're going to go ahead and start with a single crochet right into that same stitch to the left of our corner marker, just like we started on the back. I'm putting a single crochet right there. That is all it takes to join these two, okay? This is like the underarm portion of the toddler jumper. I'm going to go ahead and work my single crochets down the front of this front, so this long edge here of the front. Once I get to the opposite corner that's marked, once again, I will do my chains, and I'll do the same amount that I did on the opposite side, and I will join with a slip stitch. Then we'll begin to work in the round. When we join with the slip stitch to the first single crochet of round 1, I want to make sure that you know how to do that. What you're going to do is bring your work around so that the first single crochet you completed is facing you, and you're simply going to insert your hook into the top of that single crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull that loop directly through the loop on your hook. What this will do is join the work so it's ready to be placed in the round, and I'm setting it down so you can see that nothing is twisted. All of my stitches are all in one place. It's very important that you take this time to make sure that your work isn't twisted, because there's nothing worse than getting further along and realizing that all of a sudden it's a Mobius instead of a jumper, right? Let's go ahead and jump into round 2. I'm going to pick up my work, and this round is really simple in that we're just going to do single crochets and chain ones. So if I get my working yarn in order right here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 1 to begin, and I'm going to put a single crochet into the same space that I did my slip stitch join. So I'm just yarning over, insert my hook, pull up a loop, and then pull through 2. I chain 1 stitch, I'm going to skip the next stitch and put a single crochet into the next one over. I'm going to repeat this all the way around. So I chained one, skip one, single crochet in the next stitch over. Chain one, skip one, single crochet in the next stitch over. Chain one, skip one, single crochet in the next stitch over. You're going to repeat the chain one, skip one, single crochet in the next stitch over all the way to the last stitch, where you will chain one and then join with a slip stitch to the very first single crochet you completed, just like we just did. After that, we will finish off with this color and then rejoin with our next color. Go ahead and get done with that and we'll begin round 3. You fastened off your first color. Now it's time to join in the new color and begin the actual stitch pattern. Let's go ahead and do that. You're going to come down here, and in the very first chain one space you created from the previous row, we're going to begin with a slip stitch join. So I'm going to go ahead, yarn over my hook, pull up a loop, and yarn over and draw through that loop on the hook. I just want to have that nice join. I'm going to chain one, and I'm going to do 2 single crochets into the same space. So there's 1 and there's 2. Now I'm going to skip the next single crochet, go over here to this chain one space and do 2 single crochets. Now you'll notice I said you're going to the space. I don't want you to waste your time trying to go into the actual chains, okay? That nice space there, that kind of hole that's created, you want to put your single crochets into that hole. It makes the stitch pattern really nice and clean and tidy. So really use up those spaces. You're going to work the 2 single crochets in each chain one space all the way around and then join with the slip stitch and fasten off this color. Then we'll go back to the previous color you used for the next round. You finished round 3 and it's time to jump into round 4, which is really similar to round 2, only we're going to put our stitches in between the 2 single crochets. Let me show you what I mean. As you look down here, you can see I'm back to my beginning, and I'm going to go ahead and join with a slip stitch again. But this is where it's really important to show you where to join. These were my first 2 single crochets. These were my next 2 single crochets. I want to go into the space between those single crochets. So I'm not in any actual stitch, I'm between the stitches, okay? I'm going to yarn over, pull up a loop, and then create my slip stitch. Now I jump into my pattern, which is chain 1, single crochet into that same space, chain 1, skip those singles, come over here to the next space between these 2 singles and these 2. I'm going to go into the space, complete a single crochet, chain 1. Skip those, come over here to the space between, and work a single crochet. I'm going to do that one more time. Coming over here. Oh, I forgot to do my chain 1. Single crochet, chain 1, into the next space, and do a single. Chain 1, skip, into the next space, do a single. You can see here, as I said, it begins to resemble the row 2 that we completed, and it really delineates these sections of color that we completed the 2 single crochets. You're going to finish the entire round just like this and then follow along in the pattern until round 8, where the pattern switches up just slightly. So go ahead and do that and I'll show you what to do then. You worked round 1 through 7 on the skirt and now you're ready to begin round 8. It's slightly different from your previous round, so I'm going to show you what the difference is. We're going to begin by joining a slip stitch just like we've been doing all along between our set of 2 single crochets. So I'm going to go ahead and join with my slip stitch, chain 1, and then do my single crochet into that space. Now instead of just doing a chain 1 to get to my next space, I want to do a chain 2. And then I skip my 2 single crochets, go into the space between the 2 single crochets, and carry on in pattern. Chain 2, come over here, and work my single crochet. What this is doing is it's slightly increasing the width of the skirt. So it gives you the really beautiful shaping so that the bodice is nice and snug, and then as it comes out, you get simple flares, okay? You will continue on repeating rounds 8 and 3 until you get to round 15. When you get to round 15, you no longer do single crochets in the color section, you're going to do half double crochets, okay? I'm going to show you what that looks like. As you look down here, you can see exactly what we've completed. We had our round 1 right here where it begins to join with our chains, and then it jumps into our pattern sequence. Once we got to our round 8, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, this next round is where we actually did our chain 2s instead of our chain 1s. We carry on with that until you get to round 15, and in round 15 you're going to put half double crochets into the chain 2 spaces instead of the single crochets. This is going to add length to the skirt. Once you get past the round 15 with the half double crochets, you go on and you carry on until you get to where you can do 3 half double crochets, okay? So now we have 3 half double crochets going into the chain 2 spaces. Once we carry on with the 3 half double crochets, we end it all with 3 actual double crochets. What we're doing is we're creating the length and the shaping of the skirt by changing the stitches. So when we change to a half double and a double crochet, we actually get extra length in the skirt. When we do the chain stitches between the single crochets on the white sections, that's when we're getting the subtle shaping for the A shaping, okay? I'm going to show you how to do half double crochets and double crochets at this point, just so that you know how to do them. But as far as the pattern itself, by now, you know the sequence, you know how this works. So let me go ahead and pull in what I've been working on just to show you how to do half doubles and doubles. And I'm just going to go ahead and start working on what we were working on before. Once again, this is not in pattern, I'm just showing you how to do actual stitches, okay? So I'm going to begin and I'm going to show you how to do a half double crochet first. To do a half double crochet, you yarn over your hook, go into the stitch or chain space, whichever is going to work for you. Yarn over, pull up a loop so you have 3 loops on your hook. You yarn over and draw through all 3 loops. I'm going to show you that once again. You yarn over your hook, go into the stitch or the space, yarn over your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over your hook, draw through all 3. One more time. Yarn over your hook, go into the stitch or the space, yarn over your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over your hook, draw through 3. That's how you do a half double. Let me show you how to do a double, okay? For a double crochet, you yarn over your hook, go into the stitch or space, yarn over your hook, pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops on your hook, just like the half double. Only this time, we're going to yarn over our hook, draw through 2 of the loops, yarn over our hook, and draw through 2 loops. Let's do that one more time. Yarn over our hook, go into the stitch or the space, yarn over our hook, draw up a loop. Yarn over our hook, draw through 2, yarn over our hook, draw through 2. Last time. Yarn over our hook, go into the stitch or space, yarn over our hook, pull up a loop, yarn over our hook, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. What's really great is just sitting right here, you can see how the stitch height begins to change just with the sequence of stitches. We have a single crochet right here, a single crochet right there. We did 3 half doubles and then we did 3 doubles. So you get this really gradual height difference. That's the same thing that happens on the skirt for the jumper. The stitches, as the height changes, it creates the extra length for the jumper. Go ahead, finish the skirt, and then I'm going to show you how to do the finishing picot edge and the crab stitch around the collar. Let's go ahead and do the picot edge. You can see down here that I went ahead and just did some sets of 3 double crochets right onto the work that I've been working on, just so I can show you this step out. I'm going to go into the space between my 2 sets of 3 double crochets and join with my slip stitch, just like I've been doing before. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 1 and work a single crochet, chain 3, and a single crochet all into that same space. Chain 2, come over to the next space between that set of 3 double crochets and this set and work a single crochet, chain 3, single crochet. You can already see I'm starting to get those nice little points. Chain 2, come over to the next set, single, chain 3, and single. You're going to do this all the way around on the final round of your skirt. And then we're going to finish up with a little trim on the top part that we started at the very beginning, and we are all done. The front collar trim is actually worked up in reverse single crochets, also called crab stitch. If you look down here, I'm going to get you started. I'm going to go in to this marked stitch right here, and if you don't have yours marked anymore, that's okay. I'm just going to pop that off. I left it there so I had a point of reference for you. I'm also going to do my trim in a different color so that you can better see what the stitches look like as I'm creating them. I've put my hook into the stitch that was marked. I'm going to yarn over my hook and pull up a loop and do my slip knot join, my slip stitch. Chain 1, and now I'm going to start my reverse single crochet. So I'm going to do that as evenly spaced as possible along here, okay? It's really easy because the stitches are nice and uniform. I take my hook, I go into the stitch right behind the one I went into, go in, yarn over, pull up a loop, so I have 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, draw through 2. I know it seems really odd, so let's show you one more time. I'm coming backwards, I'm going into the stitch behind the stitch I just created, yarn over, and pull up a loop. When I pull up a loop, I want to make sure that my loop that I just pulled up, it's right there, is in front of the one that was on my hook. I yarn over and I draw through 2. Let's do that again. I'm coming into the stitch behind the one I just created, yarn over, pull up my loop, see how it's in front of the one that was on my hook right there, yarn over, draw through 2. The one behind, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. What you begin to get is this really pretty sort of cord braided look. Let's do that again. Go the stitch behind, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. I'm going to set this down and talk you through what you're going to do next. You carry on working these single crochets all the way along, reverse single crochets, come across the top, come down the other side of the strap, come across the front, come up the other side of the strap, the top, and then all the way down to the end, and you'll finish off. You do the same thing on the reverse side, so when you're looking at the back, you would start at the back corner and then work the reverse single crochets along the top. Last thing to do is to add your purl button and you're done. Wasn't that easy? All you need to do now is go get yourself some Baby Hugs yarn and make this really great jumper. I'm Marley Bird for Red Heart Yarns. Thanks!